As sure as night is from day, there are going to be people that just aren't that into you and your singing. So how do you deal with the criticism and actually make it work to your advantage? We're going to talk about that right after this.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
I wonder how you in the past have dealt with criticism. The facts are that if you're learning to sing and if you're putting yourself out there enough, you are going to come in contact with people who aren't that into what you're doing. And that's okay, you can't please all the people all of the time. But there is some very proactive ways to take on board the feedback, positive and negative, that you receive. First of all, let's just put to the side haters. Haters are going to hate. The reality of haters is that's their issue. We're not talking about haters today. That's their issue, and I'm not going to buy into their insecurities, and neither should you. Today what we're talking about is just general feedback, sometimes from friends, family, fans, people who, having heard you sing, are interested in seeing you develop, but sometimes they've got some feedback that is not always glowing, not always positive. And here's a really great opportunity for us to grow as singers. The first reaction for many of us as artists is the moment we start to get negative feedback, we throw up the shutters and we just nod politely and take, and then we just disregard and don't think about it. And what I want to encourage you to do, and this is really hard and I find this a challenge myself, in that moment, make a choice to leave the shutters down and just listen. Take it on board and give it some thought. Allow it to chew. Now, as you develop, you're going to get better at discerning those things that you can take on board immediately and go, yeah, I really need to work on that. Maybe my pitch is a little bit off in that particular section of song, or maybe my tone wasn't exactly where I wanted it to be. The other point is maybe the feedback you're receiving is something you need to work on in the future. Maybe it's not something that you can deal with right now. That's still positive feedback. It's still something that you can take on board and just shelve for a moment, but come back to it in the future when you have gotten through the developmental stages that you're working on right now. And then the third point is sometimes the feedback is not going to be from a hater, but it's equally not going to be feedback that is worthwhile you taking on board. But the only way you can make the discernment between the three, feedback that you can deal with now, feedback that you can deal with in the future, or feedback that is not going to be helpful to you at all, is by not throwing those shutters up. You have to be able to listen to the feedback in the moment and then take that on board and respond to it appropriately. And the further you get on in your development, the better you're going to be at discerning between those three. Here at Voice Essentials, many of you have been singing for quite some time, and I know that each of you have got something to offer us here at Voice Essentials about how do you deal with criticism, constructive and otherwise. For that matter, how do you deal with haters? I'd love to know. Generally, I'm just ignore. If this is your first time here at Voice Essentials, I would love to have you subscribe to the Voice Essentials YouTube channel and join us. We're a bunch of singers who love voice, love singing, love learning to sing, and we would love you to join our ever-growing community. But until I see you in the next Voice Essentials video, I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.